Is the time again for Geek Speak. And of course, this week I am going to be playing the role of Pip because we have a pet emergency, and so she is dealing with that right now. You may hear some pet noises in the background. Don't be alarmed. Um, and so, yeah, that's to be expected for this moment. My name is Phelan Lewis with Seymour Digital Media, and this week we are talking about the what has happened in the world of marketing.
Yes, and I'm Rena Little from Little Works Indie Media, and we're also missing Greg this week. He's recovering, and he will be back probably in the next couple of weeks. We'll see how that goes. He is
Yeah,
fine, by the way, all fine, and you can connect with him in the Facebook group if you're interested in doing so.
awesome.
Okay, so Phelan, we've got quite a bit of stuff to go through, I think. I don't know if you want to start or if you'd like me to start or how you want to do it. Usually Pet tells us these things.
Yeah, our fearless leader. Yeah, so I think I'll start off with a couple of just SEO things, just because there's some big change that's been happening in the. There's supposedly a core update that's on its way. People are so that's usual for every 3 months. They generally do a big core update to um, kind of fix what's been going on with search online. Um, People are expecting this one to be uh, fairly innocuous. Mostly, is of course going to be dealing with AI stuff because that also came out. As someone found that as a subsection of the leak was that there's a whole rating system that they were going to use for their generative search. And so that was a big one where they're labeling your content as like it's SABDE, and so they didn't. Apparently, the leak didn't go into much detail what those characters, like how they identify those characters, but it just was that they do identify those characters about your website, and it has to do with AI and how they're going to use it in the future for doing searches. Um,
So, do you think we're going to have some more news about whether AI is fine or how to use it for websites? Because I know that whole subject um, is a little bit misunderstood, and there are a lot of different viewpoints on it. Do you think they'll be giving us any more information?
it's a good question. The biggest issue right now that they have is that they're like they can't determine what's been written by a person, what's been written by generative AI, even if you just like get notes from it. But so like figuring out those parts as like shades of degree.
Mhm.
Um, the biggest one that I'm going to put my marker down on is that it will the amount of money that they've invested into AI it will burn out in with it's figured to be within a year. And
What is going to burn out? Sorry, I don't know what it is.
AI systems, like the
Ah,
actual code
yes.
and like actual computing power that runs AI,
Okay.
is quite intensive, and it's been apparently much more intensive than they originally anticipated. And
Oh,
so
interesting.
the amount of server time that it takes, it just
Yeah.
doesn't. Whatever they're charging us, it's just not the value to.
Possible. Ah,
Yeah,
interesting. Okay, well that's gonna put a little wrench in the whole thing. Interesting.
it is. On the flip side, Twitch still runs, and it like people run calculations on how much Twitch costs to run an hour, and the fundamentals don't make sense there either. So I could be just proven wrong by some sort
Yeah.
of expedience in the system, but like I I would put a little bit of my view is that I put a little break on it because there's just like a lot of when people run the numbers don't look good. So
Right.
um, so speaking of that, one other big technical shift to the internet that got stymied this week is, do you like that transition? It's the Google has backed away from doing third-party cookies. They were originally going to get rid of them, and they were going to have a cookieless future,
Yeah.
which I thought was insane and was never going to work. Because like that's just like you have a very simple solution, and why are you giving this up to like it's like reinventing the wheel. Like, you don't need to do that. You don't need to do this. And so they, I guess they've just, because originally they were going to put us all in a big pool, and it was like a consent pool that then based on that you would then get access. But like, it didn't make any sense. And so of course they're now backing away because it's, basically reinventing the internet. And it turns out that's harder than you would think.
Yeah. Well, that's good. I like that idea that they're backing away, so that's good. Um,
Yeah.
yeah. Anything else for the Google News?
Merchant Center is got it's redesigned. So Merchant Center Next is what it's called.
Mhm.
So anyone who's any e-commerce is now going to have it. So I knew every new account that I'd signed up for is automatically switched over to the new design and layout. But
Mhm.
now it's being hauled out to every retailer that's on their platform.
So what
So
does that mean exactly?
there's a couple new features. It's mostly that it's like a just looks different. Like
All
it's
right. Okay. So
but
it's just visual reorganization. Does it make it more user friendly?
um Yeah, I would say I like the new design over the old one.
Okay.
It reminds me very similar to the new Google Ads layout.
Mhm.
So you go in there, they've got a new layout, and most of the things are in the right spot. There's some new features that are in the Merchant Center that
Mhm.
I can't name them off the top of my head. It was more just like, oh, that's there. Oh, cool. It wasn't like groundbreaking. I wasn't gonna lose it over the new design. And it's far less annoying than the new Google Ads design, where they moved everything to just be a little bit off from where it used to
Right.
be. So you can't
Yes.
find anything that's not just the immediate like campaigns and ad
Mhm.
copy. Um, so I mean, I still count it as like, is this the best use of Google's resources right now? Is to do redesigns on these platforms? Probably
Yeah.
not.
Yeah.
But that's what we got. And so that's kind of a big one. There's also going off that with platforms taking stuff away. There's going with Google Business profiles is taking away messaging and call reporting,
Yes, I saw
which
that. Yeah,
yeah,
I'm gonna miss the call reporting, I think, a little bit.
I I think that yeah, that is absolutely a waff and like a misstep on Google's part. Like
Yeah.
there's no reason not to do
Yeah.
that. It's so useful for any like
Yeah.
business to like know, hey, I missed a call from this phone number. Would you
Yeah.
like to call them back? And it's like,
Yeah,
yeah, to me, I'm
exactly.
like,
Yeah,
as a business
totally.
owner, I would
Yeah.
love to know that information.
Yeah.
And there's like that must cost them nothing to store that information and then
Yeah.
report it back.
Yeah,
Like
and same with the messaging. I actually know a few businesses that have removed all of their social media accounts. For particular ethics reasons. And then they were
yeah,
relying on Google business listing messaging. Like lots of people were actually sending, I could see because I'm an admin on their account, tons of people regularly messaging them to book appointments and to ask questions and to find out schedules and if they're moving that, that's gonna hit some people pretty hard, I think, too. Not everybody. I don't really get messages from Google Business Listing. Most people email me from there, but I'm sure there must be lots of instances where that's going to be a hang up for people.
yeah, I totally feel you. I've like not ever uh it's basically like a 90-10 kind of split. Like
Yeah,
90% of my clients don't get any messages, but the 10
yeah,
that do, they get a
yeah.
lot.
Get a
Like it's
lot.
weird.
Yeah,
Like if you
yeah,
do, you get a lot of them, and if you don't, like yeah. And I
yeah,
get like that they're probably thinking in like in aggregate, but like yeah, I would find that probably the intensity of the accounts that get those messages
yeah,
should have been a weighting factor for them to be like picking what they were going to do. And I, yeah, I've got a couple of clients that I know it will they just get so many messages on like, hey, is such and such thing available? Do you sell
yeah,
blah blah blah? Like just like stuff that is innocuous and probably leads to a sale, but like for the most part, it's just like being in contact with your clients that it's just sort of a
yes,
quick one off. Um, it just seems kind of like yeah, just a misstep, honestly,
totally.
for
Yeah,
Google to take away something that like compared to the amount of man hours it must have taken to redesign the merchant center, like
Yeah,
that would take a lot of effort to
yeah,
like redesign
yeah.
that. And you're doing that and you're rolling it out in stages and you're testing it, and that compared to like, oh, we're just shutting down this reporting. It just
Yeah, I'm
seems like.
wondering. I wonder if that's going to become paid features. I feel like that might be when they. I know that they're developing business listing into a bigger thing, and when they start to do that, that they may come back as paid features. So we'll see what happens there because it seems those seem like really good features for business to have. Um,
And I would say that I totally agree that that would be great. And you know, if it's like the paid version and you get it $10 a month, and you
yeah,
get the reporting and the messaging and all that, like for a business that was getting that before, ten
yeah,
bucks is probably a rounding error for the amount of sales, the amount of leads that you're getting
mhm,
off of that that's coming.
yeah.
So I would say that that to me feels like that would be the route I would go if I were them. But you know, obviously I'm not Google, and they're, you know, I'm sure they have their own internal machinations on how these things get determined.
Hmm. For sure. Anything else on SEO or
Uh,
Google?
no, those are kind of the big ones on my end that were the, yeah, I mean, the core update was a big one. Oh, and also that apparently Google Ads, the revenue off of Google Ads was surpassed expectations by 12%.
12%.
Um,
Oh, that's pretty good.
it's
That's
yeah,
pretty good. That's pretty
yeah,
good considering apparently the market has downturned a little bit. That's pretty good. That's encouraging actually.
yeah,
Um, okay, so I have a couple of little tiny Google things. In 2018, Google had announced that its short links, GOO.GL, is being sunset, and basically the deadline is August 25th, 2025. So this is like, there's probably not very many people out here who have used those links, but if you've got them anywhere on your social or website or anything that you're putting out, they need to be switched because they will turn not they will turn into 404 error messages, and we
Hmm.
don't want that, do we, Phelan?
No, no, no one
Yeah,
likes broken links.
no one likes broken links, especially not Google SEO
Yeah,
um, audits. They hate them. Okay, and Google has been named the official AI sponsor for the Team USA at the Olympics, and obviously they've put some money into that, and there. So you'll be hearing a lot about that if you are attending any of the events. They will be featured often. Um, oh, and the one thing that I found, this is just a random fact, it's not particularly helpful to marketers at all or businesses maybe, but it's something to consider. 45% of the Amazon warehouse workers were injured on Prime days. And I thought that was quite a remarkable stat that I saw online. So, something to keep in mind when you're ordering on Prime days.
yeah,
And I'm not sure what their health insurance is like over there, but hopefully it's decent. Um, oh yeah, Google's broad match is now set on by default. In I think that's an ad thing, right? The broad match.
yeah,
So if you're not aware of that, then you might want to go in and check your campaigns or have somebody check your campaigns for you. Um, oh, and this is my favorite one of the month. So we all organize our comments on Facebook. If you are on Meta, Instagram, and Facebook, if you are managing your conversations, if you're doing social media management, and some of those things, some of those strategies include like pinning good comments at the top and hiding comments that are maybe not so positive and dealing with them offline. So it seems that they're going to get the AI, the Meta AI machine, to summarize the comments and offer that as the top comment or the one that you find at the highest point of your comments, which might be okay and might not be okay, as we understand that AI doesn't always get it right. So they might be adding in the negative comments as important if they come up once or maybe twice, you don't know. So that's going to be interesting to watch. So watch for that. If anyone has seen that already, I would love to see a screen cap. I have not seen it yet. Just drop that in a comment so that we can see it. That would be, I would really love that, especially if you're in the States, which is where things often get rolled out first. Um, Yeah, so that might actually affect the vibe or the branding of your company in ways. TikTok has now allows hour-long videos, which I was surprised to read in my notifications the other day. I think it was last week. It's like, okay, so we really are going, you know, and this really kills me. The idea that you start out with one thing, you become known for one thing, people love you for the one thing, and then you got to take on all the other things, and then all of the platforms start to behave the same. So I don't know if everyone knows, but TikTok added photos. I think it's called TikTok Notes. That's another addition to the to the app that I mentioned. I think I mentioned it last month, and now they're adding hour-long videos. So, welcome to TikTok, Instagram, and TikTok, YouTube,
Yeah.
and we'll see how that goes. There was a big kerfuffle about adding 10-minute videos and having them be the or landscape orientation with nothing above and nothing below, and how
Hmm.
they're privileging that content. I did quite a few of those, and I didn't see a huge push on that content from my
Yeah.
client account, and at all. And I didn't see any ads. It had been talked about that maybe TikTok was going to put ads in that black space, but I haven't seen any of that yet. So I'm not quite sure what they're doing. We'll see. And if you've put up an hour-long video, let me know how it plays. I'm going to put up the first hour-long video, I think, next week on my account and see how that goes.
Hmm.
And I'm really plowing through this. It's only 11:16, and I've got one more point left, so we can go back and sort of unpack some of the stuff that I've brought up.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
For sure.
yeah, and Instagram is now letting users add multiple audio tracks to your reels. You can add up to 20 tracks in a single reel, and once you add them, then you can trim them to be included in the part that you want. So that's pretty interesting. I think that's going to change the vibe of Instagram a little bit, and it's going to certainly be different than TikTok. So I guess that means that you can put out one video roll with one track, one video roll with one track, one video one with one track. For example, that was one way I can see it being used. If you're going to do some kind of mashup, that might be interesting. I can't really see how else that would work. It seems that the audio files are in sequence; they're not over top of each other. At first, I thought it was over top of each other, but I don't see that as being how they work. Again, I have not seen how the multiple video audios work because they haven't been rolled out on any of my accounts. So if you've seen it, put your comments in below. I'd love to hear if you can overlap the audio, because that could actually be fun if you're doing things like soundtracks, like sounds, not music, not multiple music, like one music, one sound, like with like those funny little boings and gongs and stuff like that, and then you could probably also have a voiceover audio that might be interesting. But let me know if you've played with that. Love to hear about it in the comments below.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
I definitely think that would, you could also work that as like if you do those like joke voice overdubs
yeah,
of like
exactly.
you're like playing a clip from a movie and then you play a clip
Yeah,
from another movie and then the video
yeah,
is just you doing the like
yeah,
overdub of it. I think that could probably work as well.
yeah.
Like in my mind, that would
Well, that
kind
would
of
work well in the situation that you're actually creating an original video. But if you wanted to, and you're hoping that that will go viral, that would work very well. If you're trying to go viral with sounds that you're dubbing from that are already viral, then of course we want to actually always stick to the original sound in Instagram,
yeah,
for
yeah,
example.
that does make sense.
Yeah,
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what these platforms as they're like almost becoming like uh DAWs, which are not something yeah, it's something I'm familiar with. It's like a those soundboards that they have in studios. Well, it's a
right,
digital version of that. So it's a digital audio workstation.
right.
Um and so yeah, it's almost like becoming one of those where you're like mixing different things in together.
So actually, that would be quite interesting because I do know people who actually make entire videos on editing music videos and other types of videos on like short videos on editing platforms. It would be kind of fun to actually create a whole video, like do all the editing from start to finish for a short video or music video or something like that, that included all of those interesting, weirdo little things right
Yeah,
in Instagram instead of having to do it outside of Instagram and then uploading it. And then it
yeah.
becomes an editing
Uh,
platform in addition to a social media platform.
yeah, especially if you have like actual real like fine grained control
Yeah,
over like,
yeah,
to EQ something. So it's like it doesn't like jump in audio quality from one to the other. It's like it's, if you have more control over that, it'd be kind of
yeah.
cool, because apparently CapCut is quite proficient for doing that kind of
Yes,
like fine
yes,
grained like audio and visual
yeah,
editing.
yeah,
That like I knew some people that I follow for like audio engineering, and they were impressed with how much you could do, just like, and it's on your phone, so it's not like you have like infinite compute power, and it still managed to do a pretty decent job, which is impressive for like from like kind of a
yeah.
coding perspective of like being able to give people all that stuff.
Yeah, yeah. I think there was I had a contractor who worked with me who created an entire video, music video from filming and editing and uploading on her phone in like 2010 or 11 or sometime around that time we were working together, which was really quite remarkable at the time.
Mm.
And that was really it was really interesting to see that done and how much further we're able to go now. It's like you pretty much have a studio on your phone.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I just realized I think we did not share this into the group, did we?
We
Uh,
didn't.
I'm looking for it right now. Don't mind me. Um,
Oh, you mean the stream, the this live
yeah,
stream is not. Oh, well, that's okay. We can upload it afterwards.
yeah, and share it back in. I was just
Yeah.
wanted everyone else to, because they were wondering where it was, that they would be able to see. And I don't
Well,
think
we
I'm
have
able to do this because
afterwards.
this
We
is
seem
not
to
my
have
computer. I am very much out of my element and how everything is set up. So this is
right.
yeah, yeah, they're yeah. I think that I will say, it's just like a circling back to something you said earlier, that I do find it kind of annoying where all the social media apps basically are out of ideas, and so basically just like crib off of each other instead of
Yeah.
like really try to like make something new or figure out something like
Solve a problem. Solve a
solve a
problem.
problem, or
Yeah.
even like you get feature requests. Like there's got to be one, like, yeah, it's got to be hard to like set this up, but like
Yeah.
that's why you make all this money, is so that you can like spend it on creating something new so that we get even more enjoyment out of it. And it's, that's why we
Yeah.
give you get all this money, and that's why these companies are worth so much, is because they're supposed to be building
Yeah.
new stuff. And it's frustrating
Sure.
that they're not even really trying, other than like just, yeah, like it's a copying off each other, or just like buying out
Yeah.
their competition. Like that's
Yeah.
kind of been the two modes.
Yeah, and it's interesting when you think about like how how social media actually reorganize your dopamine hits. You know, like you do go to YouTube for long videos, and when you go to YouTube for
Hmm.
long videos, that's what you're expecting and that's what you want. So therefore, when you are hit with a longer video on TikTok and on TikTok to get that immediate dopamine hit all the time, like it just doesn't, in my mind, it just doesn't work. And it hasn't worked because when I get the longer videos, they don't reel me in with their riveting information in the 10-minute videos. I just like get the heck on to the next one. And I,
Yeah,
I want to know those 10-minute videos. Are they getting, how many complete watches are they actually getting? You
yeah,
know?
for sure. And I would compare that against like a YouTube, where the YouTube
Yeah.
shorts, they figured out a good play, which is you can
Yeah.
make a clip out of your longer video, and so the
Yes.
two are interconnected. So you're just scrolling through,
Yes.
and okay, maybe they get you with the hook. Okay, I want to watch the full 10-minute video to go where this video kind of like led you as like a little preview of what's going on. So that, like, to me, that's a smart play. But that's
Yeah.
because they on YouTube, you are expecting the longer form video.
Yes.
So if they have a short form video that's just like a quick hit, and then, oh, I actually want to find out more about that video, to me that's a better mindset
Yes.
and way to
Yeah.
look at it. Um,
Yeah.
I will also say that I also don't appreciate that all these platforms also are just like go streaming, like they're going live, like between
Yeah.
like Instagram Live, TikTok Live, YouTube Live, Twitch. Like there's so many platforms that are just like there's no way all these platforms are getting enough like for the amount of compute space that they're getting that it's worth it for them to all be doing this.
Yeah, it would be interesting to look up those numbers. I mean, I know TikTok lives are pretty important and Instagram lives are pretty important. Those have
Yeah.
been sort of built in, but I don't really spend that much time on YouTube, so I'm not entirely sure. I know they were doing it first, I think. And were they doing it first? You tell me. You're more of a
Uh,
YouTube guy.
yeah, and I'm also a person that I actually know the history of Twitch as a company because I
Right.
did
Yeah.
follow Y Combinator for a long time, and the
Mhm.
founder of Y Combinator was the guy that started Twitch.
I
Uh,
see.
yeah, so it was called Sam TV because it was they were just going to live stream
Right.
this guy's life called Sam, and then everyone realized that like it's actually better if you just build the platform for other people because Sam was not very engaging, and
Oh,
so
no. Poor
um,
Sam.
well, he did okay. They got bought out by Amazon. They're doing okay. I don't have to
Yeah.
like lose any sleep over it. But yeah, they did get the first one was actually Periscope for
Mhm.
live
Yes.
TV, and that was bought by Twitter, and then was sundown in 2018. It
Yeah.
was and so that was the first one that was like the you go live on Periscope.
Yeah.
That was
So I don't know if you know this about me, but I was on Periscope and we were live streaming an art project for one of our clients back in the day. And
nice,
it was
nice.
a public art project. And we were walking this art project all around the seawall one day. And we had people join us in real life. And then I live streamed it on Periscope. And we had people, it seemed to be very big in Europe. And we had tons of Europeans interacting with the artwork as we walked around the seawall. It was very cool.
Yeah, that's cool. That's a nice blend of like IRL with like
Yeah,
digital media. Yeah,
yeah.
that's a pretty cool way to be tackling. Yeah, to go through with that. Um yeah, and I had a thought, man. Uh
Oh, I'm
sorry, it's
sorry.
just
I totally interrupted you.
oh no. It's all good. It was more just like I had a thought and like I could just hear them outside dealing with the dog, and so it's just sort
Yes.
of just a little distracted. Oh, I think that a Pip mentioned that we wanted to say that there was also going to be a WordPress update. It just
Oh,
came to
I
me.
see. Let me look
Yeah,
at the notes here.
I don't think it got added to the notes. Pip just told it to me, and I caught that it was there's a big
Okay.
security update for like 6.1. So
All
everyone
right.
keep your eyes peeled for that. Um,
So security updates, just for the people that aren't developers out there, security updates are the ones that you really want to get on fast because they've identified a security issue and it's a
yeah,
fix for that. With other updates, if it's just not just, but if it's functionality based, usually we wait a number of days for all of the bugs to be worked out on other people's sites, and then we
yeah.
implement on the next iteration. So security one, do right away, please.
Yeah. Yeah. Generally, a rule of thumb is like the ones with the big number. So there's three numbers. So the first
Mhm.
number is like it's a major update.
Yeah.
So it's like a huge change. Those ones you want to implement slowly
Yeah.
because who
You
knows
know,
how it's going to interact with your plugins.
actually, Phelan, I think this is a really good topic to cover on one of our weekly topic days. Maybe we should
Uh,
add WordPress updates as a topic. Um,
yeah, I mean, there's definitely enough stuff out there, and especially what those numbers mean. But
yeah.
basically, long and the short of it, just to look
Mhm.
brass tacks, is the third number is usually very minor changes, and they're usually like we're talking about security updates that they've
Mhm.
identified a day one issue. So day one is the developers didn't even code this in. This was just like a
Yes.
vulnerability that existed that someone could exploit. So it was before.
Yes.
It's not like you did an update and you didn't correct it.
Yes.
It
Yes.
was like before you even knew that this was could have been known to be an issue, and we found it.
Mhm.
And so those are definitely important ones that you want to update because they're patching in, and who knows how people can take advantage of it. And generally, once they've been patched, they're generally pretty good.
Right
Um,
on. So that brings us to the end of this segment. And do we know what's happening next week?
I
The one
believe.
where we're getting a topic for. Let me see here.
No, I think we. Pip and I talked about one that. Uh,
Yeah, it's Pip and Rena. Is your digital marketing strategy outdated? So join us August 1st.
okay, yeah,
We'll be back here live, or you can always come back on the replay wherever you're watching now. If you want to join us in another space, we actually go live, generally speaking, in the in the in the Cyberpunk Marketing Mixer Facebook group. So join that group and have access to us any day of the week. And thanks for
exactly.
joining.
Yeah, thanks. Bye for now.
Bye for now.